Hello, this is Bernd Graf, and today we will be creating the BMW M3 DTM Juicy. First we will find the path for the Assetto Corsa templates. You go to Program, Files and click Steam Apps, Command, Assetto Corsa, and this folder right here, development for the dev team and skin template. Now we have to be very careful because there are several M3 cars from the e30 chassis type, and we want to make sure we use the one that is titled Group A, which is the same template type that the DTM car in Assetto Corsa is based on. Clicking this, we see the PSD type file, and if your Windows is not set up to show type, make sure that it does. Excuse me, forgetting to hit the space bar for talking. Make sure that before you use this template you have the type shown in your Windows, because if you don't, you will have another template like this that shows RIM files, and they are DDS, not PSD. Unfortunately, the M3 template does not have RIM files, so we will have to use the RIM files from other skins in Assetto Corsa made by the dev team. But we will click this in GIMP, and I have hot-linked, excuse me, that the space bar is interfering with some of the video. I have hot-linked my PSD and DDS files to open directly with GIMP. If we will click this, sorry for the slow start. The template, I install new fonts, so it takes a little while with the uploading of GIMP. Okay, so what we have here is a 2K template. I'm sorry that the image is moving. Pressing space for talk is interrupting a few things, so you will hopefully bear with me until I find another hotkey that does not disrupt entirely the functions for tutorial today. With this template, the AC dev team did not put it in too much of a good order as some of the other templates. No disrespect to Team Kunos, but we will have to reorganize this template before we can do a proper livery for the car. First, what we will do is adjust everything under a one file, folder, excuse me. Then we will transfer all of these things in their order into this layer group. The wireframe we will disable for now. Okay, we have a working template. Now we will change the resolution of this template. As standard in Assetto Corsa, they have the template set at 2K, and I used to make 2K liveries, but now I prefer 4K or 5K. 5K for a carbon fiber exterior car and 4K for all others, simply because of the line quality is much better than a 2K template, and I spend a lot of time in the showrooms in Assetto Corsa. I mean, we log into the game today to check the progress on the skin. You will see I have a number of modded garages, and I enjoy the garage very much in Assetto Corsa, and I want the cars to look good in the garage, and that can only happen with a higher and higher resolution textures. So to do a larger texture, we will have to, before we put any logo on the car, blow up the template, and that is done like this. Okay. Okay, so we have created a 4K texture size, and now we will, as our base file is complete, we will look at some of the parts in detail. Before we do that, however, we will, as you see, I tried to paint on the car, and I forgot that this file does not have a paint layer, so we will create that. Now, as you see there, I was testing several things to show you. First, we created a file called paint, and it must be titled paint in order for the colors that you apply to the template to show the occlusion layers, which are the grayer areas on the standard white paint. You see that I also set the mode to multiply. That is very important so that the paint does not overwrite the ambient occlusion or shadow layer. Now notice that in this particular file, paint has to be above the ambient occlusion in importance, or it will overwrite it if it is under. Most cars in Assetto Corsa prefer the paint below the ambient occlusion layer. This one is different. Now we will look at the different body parts of the car as far as I know them so far and see what we can find. Okay, the blue highlight are the running boards of the car. The one highlighted is the left door, driver's side, and the one above that is the passenger side. However, there is no passenger seat possible in the DTM version of this car. Above that, we have the doors and fenders. In the car, we have the trunk here. This is the BMW Roundel logo. This is the hood. I believe this piece that my mouse cursor is tracing right now is the front fascia or the front wing. This is the portion of the rear bumper. This is the front bumper, and with the light inserts for nighttime or dusk driving. These two thin parts are the, I believe, also part of the front bumper. I'm not sure, I'll have to see. These are the mirrors files exploded. I believe this is part of the rear wing, the second piece of the rear wing. Rear fascia, I believe. And these parts are A-pillar fascia or miniature pieces that follow along the frame of the roof of the car. This is roof of the car, and various other small pieces that we will identify on other skin templates before we paint them. Now we will look at the project that we have here. It is provided by Mr. Michael H. We will call him that for BMW Schnitzer, and it is this, I believe, Asian DTM livery. And this one will present a bit of a challenge. I have not done the stripes on the car in this way. It should not be too hard because I will cheat a little bit and for sake of time and other projects underway, and borrow a general M-stripe design which I'll modify to the specification of this car from an Assetto Corsa template provided. I believe it's the Warsteiner. template in the game. Since this is a very old livery and the logos are not easy to find, I have had trouble finding many Asian logos on the US location of Google Images and other image locations. I don't know why they are difficult to find, but is that unfortunately is the case. I will be ripping directly this logo from this car and modifying it with the pen tool in GIMP to be able to make a higher resolution image on the hood and these rear fender plates. And we will be doing the green and teardrop and fonts all with the pen tool, and I think you'll be happy with the result, Mr. Michael H. and those of you who download this skin to race. So let's go. I start with the hood first and we will modify from there. Now as you can see here, I have two options. I can rip the template from the first picture, or I can rip it from this model provided graciously by the person who requested this skin be made. I will try both and see how they react to the Kunos 2D template. Now to access this so as we can use it as an image to manipulate as a guide for our pen tool, we will open this, I believe it's a JPG, with GIMP. Alright, now we will highlight which portion of the template we will use with the select tools. Now we are going to temporarily erase the other images around this highlighted image, not permanently, we'll be using them later as reference points, but we will delete them for now so that we can concentrate, and when we paste this image onto the car in the Assetto Corsa template, we don't get any distracting images. It is important before you use the eraser tool in GIMP that you select from the brushes layer here which transparency level you prefer. For a hard erase, I use the hard farthest to the right circle. Okay, now that we have highlighted our template, we will copy paste it first before applying it. Now this is the important thing of using the selection tools here, because though we have copied an image from this entire template, by highlighting a section the GIMP will only copy what is highlighted, so it's very useful in avoiding copying massive files that you don't necessarily want. Now we will paste the image in the dev template. Before we do anything, it is important to select the layer group file first. Pasting logos if layer is not selected will result in a kind of strange anomaly that I won't show you. It's frustrating to get out of. Now, as you see from the sequence there, it is very important to, when pasting a file intended to be a guide or a logo to the car, that you select to paste it as a new clipboard item. Any other way, like a brush layer or something, sometimes works, but I found the most success with the way I have shown here as a demonstration. Now we will rotate the logo 90 degrees to correspond with the Assetto Corsa template using the rotation tool as here. Now we have hit the positioning logo, or the logo with the 4 arrows, east, west, north, south. And this is your return kind of home key in GIMP. It allows you to not necessarily move anything. It's a safe key. Any of these other keys will result in some strange thing to the template that you might not want. So if you want to be safe when operating with especially a template that has over 100 logos or more, I always return back after an articulation to this home key. Now, obviously, this is a much smaller logo than is required on this car. So we will blow this one up according to several of the pictures so that it gets pretty accurate. And of course, as we blow this up, we will be tracing on this hood to replace the degraded textures with higher resolution textures. Using this real template as a guide, you'll notice that several of the templates have the point of this Mr. Juicy Square. Touching or not touching, I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. but we'll try this one. As you can see, this one is touching the BMW logo, but since this is a model of the car, I regard it as less accurate, so I think we will use the real picture instead, even though it is different. As you can see in this other real picture, the point of the green square seems to touch the logo. So perhaps the model is more accurate than I thought before. I think we will use this picture even though it is at a strange angle, and the car number is 5, not 3, and the model shows 3. I think this is the more accurate of the templates. As far as positioning, color, I think this one, but we will do color later. Now, important to remember, I selected the sizing tool in GIMP. Default, the chains are unlocked, and that means when you blow up the logo, only one side will extend. And we want this to extend proportionately, so we will lock the chains, as you will. Okay, let's try that as a base. I think it's still a little too small, but we will try it for now. Yes, as you can see, I adjusted the transparency level of the template and it is too small, so we will go back and continue to adjust its size. Okay, we are close. The sun-kissed drop touches the edge of the hood, and we want it to touch, and this is not quite touching yet, so we will adjust it further, but we're close. Okay, I think we have the template generally correct. Now we will correspond it on the right side of the car. Okay, it seems that from this model of the number 3, the orange comes a lot closer to the edge of the hood, which seems to be here. Very little green overlaps. I think we need to adjust the template. It is offset here, as you can see from the BMW logo, to the right of the logo, and I think we'll adjust accordingly. Okay, now just from having worked with templates a lot before, I'm suspicious that with this point where it should end somewhere by the edge of the light, that ours might be a little bit imperfect in this way. So I think the way we have it right now is fairly accurate. Obviously this edge is not accurate at all, but the Kunos template is far more accurate, and we can trust it more than a model, I think, in this case. So we might either distort this image, which I don't really want, or we might leave it for now and just concentrate on the square here, which is what I think we'll do for now. Okay, now you see what I did there was I was curious that the first template was not correct enough, but it seems that in taking the example from the other one, it too is going to be a bit inappropriate for the application. So I think what we'll have to do is scratch make the 3 arrows here or stripes, and we'll concentrate on this feature, which I believe this higher resolution template provides a better texture. As you can see, I was testing both together and they match up fairly closely with this square, whereas the lines here are different, so I don't think it matters which one we use as far as the Mr. Juicy portion of this logo. Okay, so now that we have generally the positioning of this logo that makes me happy, I will test it with the stripes first, since it's very crucial that the lightest blue stripe ends along this line, and we want to check the integrity of these lines with this template to see how close we can get before we do any pen tool, which is very laborious, and we might want to pull our hair out if we make a mistake and we didn't do enough checking before. So we'll do that first. Now this is a Kunos made template, and we'll be using their stripes since I won't use any member-made skins. I don't want to use their work as it took a lot of time for their work, and that's just, I think, a respect of their work. So we will be using this official template. Now to access the image of the template, you'll see that when we click this DDS file, it's not a PSD, as it has been saved and finalized, and we will have to do some manipulation of this texture in order to see the image like this one here, which is not finalized. Okay, as you can see, the template shows all logos, but nothing else. To change that, we'll do this. Now what I did there was right-click on the image. Okay, we have added a layer mask, and we want to select the transparency level, which is very important for this. Now, once we have created the layer mask, we will immediately delete And there we go. These are the stripes. Incorrect color, I believe, for the actual car, but close enough. We are more interested in the shape of the logos, not the color. We can always change the color with the pen tool. Now, before copying any of the shapes, it is important to remember again that this template is a 2K, whereas my template is a 4K. So before we do any capturing of the image here, we will have to expand the size of the logo in the same way that we did mine. You can see 2K and mine is a 4K. Okay, things have become a bit degraded. You can see there's some aliasing in the shape now of this template, but we can always clean that up with the pen tool later. But we'll copy this hood section now, and we'll match it up now that it is in the same resolution as my template, and see what we get. Oops, mistake. Okay, we have the template correctly placed on my hood of the template, and as you can see already, the green Mr. Juicy is quite far from the blue stripe, as we shall see. It is surprisingly far away from the stripes. There are two ways that we can deal with this, since we have a lot of space here, too much for the color. We will move this, I think, over, since with this shape it is substantially to the right of the BMW logo. I want to cross-reference this with the other cars. Now here, almost all of the blue stripe is showing, which tells me that the Kunos car has more blue on the A-pillar than we have. Now here on the real car, I think there is more, the stripes protrude onto the hood more in this car than on the Warsteiner example of the car. So with that in mind, I think we'll move the stripes closer. I think we can do that without too much of a problem. But before we do, I'm going to log into Assetto Corsa and check this portion of the Warsteiner logo with this one and see if the stripes come in the same position, just to make sure. Now before we do that, I want to save my work just so we don't have any accidents or accidental file deletions. And to save, you will go to the export selection under file and you will select export as. Okay, now to save a working template, that was the digital image that the game will read. We want to now save a working template, and in GIMP this is an XCF file. So we will also go to save again, and this time we will click save as and save to the same desktop location. Whoa, what an introduction that was, huh? Assetto Corsa knows how to do things right, huh? Okay. We will select the car. Okay. Okay, so that proved something, that the Assetto Corsa template is properly proportioned to the car, and the blue on the driver's side does just clip the front wheel well. So I think as a result we will have to do some manipulation of the Mr. Juicy image. But for now, this number 4 tutorial in GIMP is done. Please watch number 5 to see any progress that we have made with this Mr. Juicy logo. Thank you.